when we've been shooting over the last couple, 3, 4 weeks, noticed that you have very long conversations with Manish on set about this, about the script and about the character. Do you find that Manish and you, I mean, you're able to get responses from Manish which are easily palatable for you? In the sense, when you talk to him about the script, does he sound convincing?
Uh, Manish is a very talented director. He's going to become a very important filmmaker, you mark my words. Uh, I've possibly worked with the maximum number of first-time directors, and I think I have the ability to spot talent when I see it. What attracted me to the whole project was the script, which I think is really delicious, delightful, light. It has a certain fake quality. And 2 minutes into meeting Manish, you know that here is somebody who really knows his job and is passionate. And because he's written it, and he's such a fine actor, you know, when he shows you what he's looking for in a particular scene, he acts it out, and he acts it out like it becomes so easy to understand what it is that he's looking for. But I think the very special ability that Manish has, which is rare for people who've written their own script, is the ability to absorb an idea which is the actor's own, which might be completely different from his interpretation of it. And yet, Manish has this ability to accept maybe a completely different idea from how he'd imagined it when he wrote the script, and yet he's able to absorb that. Now, that I think is a quality that is very special in a director, because ultimately it's about the director bringing on board people of from different creative fields, all of whom are very talented, hopefully, which is why you put them in the film in the first place, and now to take on board their energies and allow it to become something beyond what you have written or imagined. It's a very special exercise, because a lot of directors get extremely flustered if it doesn't happen exactly the way that they had imagined. Manish knows his script very well. He understands his characters perfectly. Apart from just the fact that I like the script and I enjoy talking to him, he has the same worldview as I have. It's quite evident, even though this is a light film, there are points in it that I'm politically, both of us are on the same side. And so when we talk on the script, on the set, it's not necessary. We have a very talkative relationship, Manish and I, and it's not necessarily only about the character or about the script. But it's, you know, talking about books that we like to read, about things that have struck us, and it comes from sharing a worldview, I think.
Manish, or at least the script has a very genuine political view. Um, how are you able to see that and interpret that?
Oh, absolutely, yes. It does. And it's not there in my part. But it's definitely what the film says through all its humor and its comedy, which I like very much.
My other questions are related to the production itself. Um, Earlier on with the costume,
Yeah.
okay, so how do you feel about how the costumes have worked out for you in this film?
Well, it's not just the costumes, because a lot of the costumes are my own. They could not afford to make the clothes that Mrs. Rita Kapoor would wear, and so I ended up wearing a lot of my own clothes. In fact, I think the secret is that they probably just made 2 sets of clothes for me. The rest of them are all my own. I think I'm happy with my hair. I'm happy with what SHABANA's done with my hair. I'm very happy with the makeup that Natasha's worked out for me, because it's really much more. It's about the total look. It's not about just the clothes. I know Mrs. Kapoor. I know who she is. In fact, I based her on a real life character. I think the little fine tuning that Manish and I had to do between us was that I thought that in the beginning he had a view about Mrs. Kapoor being almost facetious and quite transparent in some of her fake bits. But I know women who work for charity causes and dress in chiffon saris and get their hair coiffed, but are genuinely doing very good work. And so I had to try and make Mrs. Kapoor real. How she's ultimately going to emerge in the film, I don't think is a terribly likable person, but I hope that the audience will be able to understand her as I understand Mrs. Kapoor based on the person that I've modeled her on.
The Milo of the characters is the U.S. and it's a very specifically Indian migrant population in the U.S. How do you feel about your relationship with Mrs. Kapoor coming from that Milo?
Like I told you, I know Mrs. Kapoor. I actually know the person, and I wouldn't have cast myself in this part. In fact, I think it's an unusual choice for Manish to do that. I would have cast some other actors that I know. But he said that they were so pat and so obvious that that's exactly what he wanted to resist. You know, he wanted to see that happening from me. And I have actually surrendered to a great extent to Manish. I've virtually just trusted everything that he's asked me to do, and I've just done it. It's I tell you, for me, what the difficult part of doing this film is, I haven't worked in an ensemble film for a very, very long time. I think the last film that I ever did was Mandi, which was Shambhani's film. And so for me, because Mrs. Kapoor just comes in little bits, and in terms of how well I normally understand the script and how well I know it, this is different, because it's like really difficult to find out when was the last scene that you did and all that kind of work. And I just figured that I should try and do something different in this film, which is really let things be and play the scenes as they come, completely secure in the knowledge that Manish knew the script so well and he knew the character so well that if I was going dreadfully wrong, he would stop me. He would be able to steer me. You see, it's if an actor has that kind of trust in a director, then the actor sort of becomes a little more secure about doing it. So in terms of how well I know every single page when I'm normally working in a film, this hasn't been that kind of experience. I've also, it has come from my trusting Manish, and two, from forcing myself at this stage to, abandon the various security blankets around me and to see, let's play it as it comes and see if I can get it right. That's why it's interesting.
Judging from what you say, Manish has kind of challenged himself by casting you specifically, because you are not you're
not the obvious choice.
Not the obvious choice.
Yeah.
So do you find that interesting in the sense it's harder work for maybe both of you?
I found it interesting for precisely that reason, because I wouldn't have cast myself in it. And because this is also a light film, I didn't want to get really heavy about it, and so I didn't want to go sort of going crazy trying to find the truth of the character and all that. Also because I know the person. So it was, I've sort of tried to play this role in as spontaneous a manner as I could with really not too much preparation, deliberately, to see how I can go with that. That is really possible if you have a director whom you trust, and I trust Manish. I genuinely believe that he's going to be a very, very important director.
So you're enjoying yourself.
Yes, I'm enjoying myself greatly. I'm enjoying myself very greatly, and I think I've learned things. Like, I think it's very important in an ensemble piece to make sure that the actors are happy, that they're comfortable just hanging around the set. Because it's all these things that create a kind of harmony in the atmosphere where I'm perfectly comfortable. I mean, I've come for a day when I've done just one shot and never felt precious about it, you know. How can I be called? I was very happy to come for that shot. That, a lot of the credit goes to the crew. Because of course the director, but it's also the crew, it's also the people you're working with who are ensuring that you're happy to hang around. That's very important because that permeates into the quality of the film. If you have a lot of very unhappy actors cribbing about just hanging around the sets, it's not very good for